Citation! Welcome to Sync Floyd, the podcast where we watch every movie ever made to see if it syncs up with Pink Floyd's 1973 magnum opus, The Dark Side of the Moon. My name is Gareth Blackler, and joining me is the Snark Slayer, because he's just such a lovely guy. It's James Barron. Hello, James.
At the late night double feature picture show. Hey, Gareth, it's me, James. Hey. You didn't get singing last week. You get double singing this week. Deal with it.
Whoa.
How is it going? I like that intro. Snark Slayer. That's very kind.
Yeah.
Gosh.
I was like, I didn't have anything planned. I almost said Mark Slayer. Like,
oh,
if
no.
your name's Mark, you're going to die laughing.
Fucking look out, episode. Marks. I'm coming. Gonna take you out. You're my Mark.
Oh.
Oh.
Ooh. Maybe that's... I mean, we should introduce the film, but maybe before they decided to make it fish, it was like a Mark Slayer.
Oh my God. How has there not been an assassin rom-com movie called You're My Mark?
That's good.
Right?
Oh, and they could both be named Mark and they fall in love.
That would be sick. Oh my God. Hollywood, give us the call.
Man, I can't believe like someone's getting this much genius. Like their next big flick this early on in an episode. We haven't even said the name of the movie. Maybe we won't this whole episode.
I don't think that's possible because we've watched Shark Tale, a movie of your suggestion once more.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I had fun watching Shark Tale. It's a movie that I have definitely seen before. Yeah, my history. I'm just going to launch into my history with it. I saw it on holiday in Nelson City, where we needed to kill time to wait for someone to arrive at an airport. We were like in Nelson to pick them up to go somewhere else. Yeah. And so we were like, wow, what are we going to do? Like, I think it was pouring with rain, and we went to the cinema and we watched Shark Tale, and we were all like, yeah, that one sure was a movie.
It's an hour and a half clean.
Yeah, it is.
Almost time to get to the airport.
Exactly. There's like, we needed to kill like the perfect amount of time that Shark Tale ran for. So by that metric, it's the best movie ever made.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. And it's like got enough going on in the credits. Like, granted, it's just the end credits are just production art.
Yeah.
But you can keep looking at that if you need to kill the remaining 10 minutes in order to leave on the perfect hour and a half mark. So, yeah.
Yeah.
If you need the hour and a half mark, this tale about a shark.
You're my hour and a half mark.
I don't even know what that could mean.
No, it doesn't mean anything. What's your history with Shark Tale? Why did you choose it? Do you love it? Do you hate it? What would you rate it?
Whoa, I like the poeticness to that. That's a rhyme right out of the mouth of Oscar the Shark Slayer himself.
Oh.
My history of this film is I remember it coming out. I remember like Finding Nemo, huge deal. I saw Finding Nemo probably like at least 4 times in the cinema.
Holy shit! Wow.
Yeah,
I know that kind of money.
Maybe it was a quiet school holidays, and we just kept going to see Finding Nemo again and again.
I mean, fair. It rips.
Yeah, I like distinctly remember again. In order to kill time, just spending the entire credits just hanging out in the cinema after Finding Nemo. Finding Nemo, huge splash on the landscape. And then...
And in the water.
Shortly after, out comes another CGI fish movie. And it's this.
Yeah.
And I do, I think these all came out just kind of at the point where childhood was ending for me, so
oh damn,
things wouldn't I could start to see the whole that was at the root of these of some films. I could see the core, I could see through the capitalism.
Yeah, you start seeing the puppet strings. Yeah, bit of a worry.
I remember just leaving Shark Tale and feeling just a little more hollow than I did.
Damn.
With my boy Nemo. And yeah, it was quite a sad moment.
Wow. I mean, what a powerful lesson. Like that's it's a coming of age film by all accounts.
Oh man, it's like The Graduate, but I'm 12.
Oh, that's great.
I'm on the bus, then like with my bride, Shark Tale, and we both kind of stop laughing and just look a bit sad.
Yeah. You just slowly stare into the DVD case and start weeping.
Oh.
Man.
Yeah.
Powerful.
And I will say, rewatch, it didn't feel like I didn't really see any huge depth to it. Excuse the pun.
Yeah.
But yeah. I don't know about this flick.
Yeah, pretty critically maligned as a film, but we've not let that stop us before.
No. I mean, Academy Award nominated.
Really?
Yeah, Best Animated Picture.
Okay.
Lost to The Incredibles.
Yes, rightfully so. Holy shit. Like, absolutely. How did this get nominated? Did the Academy just only see 3 animated features that year or something? I feel like that's probably the case.
It's always the case, yeah. DreamWorks and Pixar will always get nominated. Pixar will usually always win.
Yeah.
And then, like, yeah, they just kind of round it out with, like, a cool arty film. And, yeah, they're just like, that's all the animated films that, you know, made it that big.
Yeah. Very fair.
So, like, Boss Baby's Oscar nominated.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Oh, how are they still making Boss Babies? Oh my god.
I think they didn't plan to keep still making them. It's just, this baby's been delayed. The old pandemic.
I saw today, I'm just going to confirm something very quick, but I saw a trailer for, recently I've been seeing trailers for the new Addams Family animated feature that's coming out, which looks terrible. I think it's a sequel to the one they already did. But then I also saw another trailer made by another property. Who made this? God. Ambient Entertainment. Okay, that's not helpful.
Okay. Heard of them.
Yeah, they made a movie called Monster Family, and the sequel to that is coming out called Monster Family 2. And man, did that look like possibly the worst movie ever made.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because you've heard of Mockbusters, right?
No, what is Mockbusters?
Oh, Mockbusters are
anything to not talk about Shark Tale.
Yeah. Asylum might be the studio. They produce similar movies that look similar to a big hit, essentially hoping that someone accidentally buys that instead.
Yes.
So they'll do like Revengers or something like that. But they've had a huge run of it with animated films, including instead of Ratatouille, you can enjoy Ratatouilling.
Oh!
Yeah.
That's when you're doing a Ratatouille. You're Ratatouille.
Instead of Bug's Life or Ants, you can enjoy it Ants Life.
What?
From 1998.
You see, I would say that Ants is the mockbuster to A Bug's Life. And I feel like a lot of DreamWorks' catalogue, that's like sort of they've been in Pixar's shadow for a while.
Yeah.
I
wonder if it's just like bad timing that they just happen to also be working on fish and bug movies.
Maybe. I feel like it's got to be, there has to be some kind of like corporate espionage, like there's a Pixar mole. Like,
oh, yes.
That's got to be something that has to be going on because they can't keep making the same films. It's happened too many times.
Right.
But yeah, I am looking at some fantastic looking mockbusters, and it's only giving me ideas for the show.
Yeah, no, I shouldn't have mentioned Ratatouille of all things.
Everyone's favorite. Oh my god!
I'm just shouting it out because not a lot of people know about it. There's a New Zealand film streaming website called Beamer Films, which you can join with your library card, and you can watch like a lot of great documentaries. You can watch a lot of great art house films, including Francis Ha. But weirdly, it has a lot of these mockbusters on it, and they're usually at the top, like as if to hide the good stuff.
Oh no!
Yeah,
it's a different kind of Criterion collection.
Yeah,
man.
Imagine if the only thing you did with your library card this year was watch Ratatouille legally.
It could well be the case, Gareth. Not going to lie. All right, we have to do it. We've got to talk about Shark Tale, the 2004 film. Yeah, it's a wild one. Shall we see how it syncs with the magnum opus, Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon?
So we did mention it last week. A lot is riding on this to sync, in that it is about sharks, like Jaws, which got a 10.
Yeah.
And it stars Will Smith, like Independence Day, which also got a 10.
Yes.
And yeah, I mean...
We'll see.
We'll see.
All right, let's do it. Opening title, Speak to Me, everything that you know and love. Universal Pictures, Globe, words. This movie starts with a little worm chilling on a fishing line. He's not chilling, actually. He's terrified. This poor little worm holding his breath, just desperately trying to survive underwater. It's good that he's not pierced on the hook, like this lucky little worm.
That was nice of his fisherman.
Yeah, and the fisherman's gotten more than he's bargained for, because there's a shark. There's a shark down here circling, and looking terrifying, like Jaws style. I think actually in the film score, the Jaws theme is playing, or like a variant of it.
Yeah,
but of course we aren't hearing that, so I can't confirm. But the shark bears down on this little worm, and it's Lenny the Shark. So he's safe. Lenny the Shark, of course, as we know and love, is a friend to all beasts and everything on God's green earth, or under the sea, effectively. Yeah, he's a nice shark who doesn't eat anyone. And so the worm is allowed to get away, and his brother Frankie comes over and scolds him for being like messing around and not being a proper shark. And these two sharks are played by Jack Black, who I'm a fan of. Jack Black. I don't think this is a good role for him, but that's fine.
No, it could have been literally anyone in the world playing Lenny, really.
Yeah. And Michael Imperioli, I'm not entirely sure on the pronunciation of his name, but he's from The Sopranos.
Yeah.
He's Christopher Moltisanti from The Sopranos. And I was like, oh, damn, okay. Having watched this movie, then watched all of The Sopranos, and now watching it again is very different.
Well, yeah, this was my first ever Marty Scorsese.
Yeah. A weird exposure to him as well.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of has to be... We should bring it up now. Why? Why are there incredibly in-depth references to mob movies and The Sopranos and Goodfellas and The Godfather all in this film for children about sharks?
It genuinely makes no sense. This I can't believe that this film was sold as a concept, because it's like, hey, let's make a mob movie for kids full of pop culture references, and it's set underwater and everybody's sharks. That's too many things. And it's just a very bad idea. All three of those things don't connect. If you're trying to do a Venn diagram, you've just drawn 3 circles.
Yeah.
All right? Like, it's not good. Not a good idea. But we'll find that out.
So my big theory is that this was written with them not to be fish. And the script just, like, floundered for ages and ages.
Ayo.
The pun. And, like, because DreamWorks, I think, like, I don't know the whole DreamWorks story, but I know, like, they're not just animation, so they'll produce other things. Maybe this was meant to be, like, a romp in the 80s.
Yeah.
And it never got anywhere. And then, like, during just a disastrous pitch, someone got nervous and was like, and they're fish. And then that was when the, like, DreamWorks executive was like, excuse me?
You're brilliant.
And then they just had to keep going with the fish thing.
Yeah.
Force it in. Because, like, I reckon you could close your eyes if you've never seen this film.
Yeah.
And you might not realize they're fish and sharks.
Yeah.
Like, only offhand mentioned.
Yeah, you could totally listen to the Shark Tale audiobook and just assume that shark is just a mafioso term that everyone's using. This guy, you're not a real shark. Like, get out of here, Lenny. That kind of thing. You know? Oh, God.
Exactly. Yeah. We eagerly await the Shark Tale audiobook so we can prove this.
As I enjoy all my tales through audio platform. We're getting Breathe. We're getting the underwater vibes, which is nice. Serene underwater vibes here as we go down to the Southside Reef, which is like an underwater fish town / city area. And there's a TV...
Yeah, it's New York.
Yeah, it's underwater New York. And there's a TV news reporter whose character name is Katie Current, which I think is pretty good. Not for the current under the sea pun and also current affairs. Like, very good.
And Katie Couric.
Yeah, true, yeah. Which she's, like, played by?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
weirdly...
neat.
She's voiced by other people, like a different presenter in the Australian dub, which is probably what we saw in cinema, which just undoes the pun. So
that's so weird. Man, that would... Yeah. I don't recall my experience at all because it was so forgettable in the cinema, but I feel like that would have been quite jarring having an Australian accent thrown at me in the middle of this film. But never mind.
And especially to be like, oh, that's like my Prime News at 6 anchor. What's she doing in Shark Tale?
Yeah, right.
With Martin Scorsese.
She's just being overdubbed by Paul Holmes.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh shit, okay, weird. I could have chosen like any female newsreader, but I will not.
No.
Yes. Anyway. So the city comes back to life as these sharks have moved out of the way. And yeah, it's like it's so confusing because the fish are combination people and cars in this. Like they swap between being cars and being people analogs throughout this intro sequence. Is very confusing.
That is so true.
There are people working in stores. But there are also like fish that are like painted up like taxis. And like, are fish getting into the taxis? I don't know.
Yeah. These taxis don't serve a purpose because they're only getting themselves from place to place.
They only serve a purpose of being like, hey, what if there was a city and it was all fish? But like, you can't have fish for both things. You can't have...
Yeah.
Like, later on, there's like a dolphin police car going around, and there are flashing light fish on the top. So they're, like, inanimate objects as well. Like, not... Well, not that cars are animate, but unless you're in the movie Cars. But you know what I mean. There's no flashing lights movie.
Yeah, well, this whole city confuses me to no end.
Oh, yeah.
Simply because it's like... I went into this, I knew the shark, like from memory, I knew the fish and the sharks were like living in like human world, but underwater.
Yeah.
So I assumed we'll never see the human world, and it was just like a different world where the fish were the dominant species. But there's confirmed people because there's the fisherman and the anchor.
Yeah.
And yet, in this world, humans and fish have both evolved the same way to build cities and design like Coca-Cola.
Yep.
Yeah, unless, this is my favorite idea, is that either human civilization fell and fish have rebuilt their own society of copying ours just based on like what fell into the ocean. Or, more exciting, is this is set in ancient times, just about the time humans would have invented anchors. And fish were living in the 21st century, and then their society has fallen, and we now use their pollution to build our society.
I suppose that's true, yeah. That is definitely possible. And that I feel like both anchors and fish hooks would have been around fairly early. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to study that anchor to confirm that theory.
Yeah.
Which is what I'd love to do anyway.
Yeah, you're studying every anchor you see in every movie.
Mostly, like...
That's why you're so excited that Katie Couric's in this film.
Mostly anchor tattoos. I just go up to people and I go like, nice tattoos. Got any anchors? Yeah.
That would be the worst. Oh, I love that small talk. It's like an uncle who's like always wanted a tattoo but isn't like sure about it, like meeting like a new in-law.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Got any anchors?
I love it. Oh, just the idea of going up to like anyone on the street like that has tattoos and demanding to see an anchor tattoo. That's great. Oh my god. You're all part of the Navy, right? Anyway. Yeah, so this opening city sequence is confusing in more ways, and that there are like so many like pop culture-y references and things going on. Like it's just like the human world. There, the taxis, shell phones. There's like a live chopper helicopter like traffic report. Oh, there's one other thing that's weird. The crayfish are trains in this world. Don't know what's going on there. Like,
yeah,
you've got to choose.
I will say their little scuttling feet sync with Pink Floyd's "On the Run," so maybe that's the whole purpose for them existing.
Those scuttlers. This one goes out to all the scuttlers. Yeah, definitely. I like that.
It's going to be a hard fight not making that the episode description.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we'll see how we go. My favorite of these things is there's just a sign that I saw for the first time on this watch that just says eels, 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 which I like that one. I was like, okay, you got me, Shark Tale. You got a chuckle out of me.
Oh, wow. Because I was like, that's not the best pun.
No.
You go gills, gills, gills.
Oh, that would be so much better. Oh my God, Gareth. Why don't they let us write movies? It's ridiculous. I've been banned.
I will say, this movie has suffered the most, not through being compared to Finding Nemo, which is so wildly different. It's that BoJack Horseman episode in season 3 where he goes underwater. And it's like, I mean, we should sync that to Dark Side of the Moon, really. It's like a beautiful, silent, like, triumph of animation, but full of amazing undersea background puns. Like, essentially everything Shark Tale dreamed of.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
yeah, BoJack Horseman is just What If Shark Tale, but good, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's full of, like, modern-day references, but it's not bad like Shark Tale is, you know? That isn't the whole point of BoJack Horseman, you know? Oh, God. Anyway.
Maybe if Shark Tale was for, like, adults, it would have been...
I guess.
critically acclaimed and considered one of the greatest pieces of, like,
it's just a
modern
very
animation, like BoJack.
Very serious mafia movie with, like, high stakes and drama, but everyone is underwater. Like... Actually do that. Do that for Shark Tale 2.
Well, this is our most topical reference I think we've ever made. Have you heard of Bel Air?
What, like The Fresh Prince and?
Yeah, so it's back in gritty format.
Whoa, what?
Yeah, so this isn't actually... I think people have known about this for ages, and I think even by this time this airs, it might be very old news.
Well.
But there's a gritty reboot of Fresh Prince of Bel Air called Bel Air, which is a completely serious version of Kid is sent to live with his auntie and uncle in Bel Air. And so far it's not getting great reviews, but who knows what will change in a few weeks.
Man, seems like a weird choice for a gritty reboot.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But like if Will Smith's doing it, because Will Smith produces and the character is still called Will Smith, which is not played by Will Smith.
Weird.
If he wants to get in there... Gritty reboot of Shark Tale next.
Please. Oh, and it's just called, like, Tail. In all caps.
Yeah.
Speaking of Will Smith, here he is. Cue Oscar the fish, who is doing, like, a dance in front of a billboard of an apartment that he's dreaming of owning. Yeah. He describes himself as the superstar Mac Daddy. Or potentially the song does, but I did write that down because it made me laugh.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's just hanging out here with a bunch of like kid fish who are spray painting it, and then Crazy Joe, the hermit crab who lives in a bin. Doesn't make any sense that he'd live in a bin. He lives in his hermit crab house that he has on his back, right? I don't know. He's like,
I guess that's why he's crazy, Joe.
That's another thing that they would have done, like, in the boardroom is like, mate, what about a homeless hermit crab? Oh, genius. Like that kind of thing, right?
Yeah. And then it never got to the animator that's supposed to be the joke. So
No.
the animators just made a hermit crab. I'm like, oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Or like they did that, they made it good, and then send it back, and he's like, "But how will they know he's a hermit crab? Give him that, give him the little shell." It's like, but what, guys? Anyway, so they're at the whale wash, a car wash equivalent for whales. Whales need a lot of scrubbing; they get covered in barnacles. Makes sense.
And graffiti,
yeah, in this world. Like those little like crawfish also had graffiti on them because they're the trains. That's some very small taggers out there.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, there's like the whale wash sequence, which I don't know if we get the song here. We probably do, or maybe just like
we get a little tease of it. We get the do-do-do-do-do-doos.
Like the instrumental version of the car wash song, the big closer. But yeah, it's just like a bunch of fish and turtles and stuff and eels washing these big whales. And yeah, we get the crash sound over Oscar telling some random fish to keep up the bad work. And I was like, okay, there you go. It wasn't a good joke. And Pink Floyd agree. Anyway, goes to see his co-worker Angie, who is like a pink girl fish. Don't know. I think they are all based on real fish, these guys, but it's like way harder to tell than it is in Finding Nemo what kind of fish it is, because they're all anthropomorphized. They look much more like people than they do fish, which, it doesn't work. Just use people. The closer you get to people, just use people, guys. They can be treading water. I don't know.
Are you saying they should do this like the Broadway show Cats? And it's a bunch of people dressed as fish holding their breath?
Yes. I want an audiobook of Shark Tale. I want a Broadway show of Shark Tale. And that's like for a film that I don't like. So
his demands for the films he does like.
Oh my god, so many more. So many more. Oh my gosh.
You book a night out at the theatre and you walk in and the theatre's flooded and then these people dressed as fish come out like through the crowd. Start like singing a like car wash but like old school musical style.
I can't think of anything worse than being like semi-submerged in water for an entire theatre performance. That sounds like a true nightmare. Like with a full audience of people around you also in the same water. That's like the worst possible public pool.
And I'm imagining it's a lovely old theatre like the Civic in Auckland or the Isaac Theatre in Christchurch. I don't know why I went for, very, very local references, but then went for one so I knew you'd know what I talked about, but not the audience.
I know what you mean,
But like these lovely vintage theatres just ruined with water, so Shark Tale the musical can go on.
It's alright. They lay out a few tarps. It'll be fine. Anyway, Angie is here, has clocked Oscar clocked him in to work early because she cares about him. More than he knows. She's like fantasizing about Oscar and like has drawn a big love heart around his name and hers classic like mark it on the tree, you're my mark style. She's played by Renee Zellweger. Does it like honestly probably like the most animated performance in the movie. I found her more intriguing than Will Smith, which is kind of surprising. But sure. So they like joke around together because he's like, oh, you're my friend, you're my best friend. And she's like, ha ha, I secretly love you. And he's also, we see that Oscar's coming up with get rich quick schemes. He tries to sell bottled water as an idea, which is like, oh my gosh, so clever, it'll never work. Anyway. And then we go into time for the next scene as we go and visit Mr. Sykes. Old mate Sykes here is played by Scorsese. Martin Scorsese. What? Playing a pufferfish.
I still don't know why. I did some Googling and it autofills. If you go, why is Martin Scorsese? Why is Martin Scorsese? And it will go like in Shark Tale.
Yeah.
And still couldn't figure it out. But I think it's his friendship with Robert De Niro because they record all their lines actually in person, which is like really rare for animated films.
That's so weird. Like, I love that.
I genuinely don't know why he's in it, but I liked him.
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of nuts that he made time for this animated feature. The fact that they did get De Niro, by the way, as well is pretty nuts. Like, has he been in like any other animated movie? I don't know.
I don't think so.
Bizarre. But he...
Well, they had James Gandolfini as well, lined up, and he dropped out.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then they just happened to get the even more iconic mob actor.
Yeah, unreal. But yeah, they are meeting here on this like sunken cruise ship. Mr. Sykes, the little pufferfish, and Don Lino, the big shark, mob boss guy, who is confusingly feeding a tank of piranha. Like, I get the like threatening like bad guy in front of the fish tank energy, but like fish tank underwater. Like fish being cared for by big shark? Don't know.
Yeah,
confusing.
The rules of this movie is that they should all be humans or cars. They can't be fish in the fish world as well.
Yeah. It's like in Animal Crossing. This is a very niche reference, but in Animal Crossing, you can get like cat toys and like kennels and stuff, but there are also all of your neighbors animals. So who are they for? Like, if they come round one day or something? It's very confusing. You know?
What if he was feeding a tank of small little men, like humans?
Oh no. I hate that.
And they're in like the one part with no water. They're tiny little guys named Bryce.
Oh,
and he chucks them some food and they all like beat each other up.
I love you, my Bryce child. God.
Eat Bryces, eat.
There's definitely a storyboard of that out there somewhere that they made, and they were like, no, too confusing, too weird. Just put fish with the fish tank; it'll be fine. No one will pay that much attention. Anyway, old mate is the Robert De Niro is passing on the family business to, as it were, to his two sons, Frankie and Lenny. And is wanting them to like be taking charge, classic mafia tropes. And like it's been training them up basically. But Lenny is not a great shark, is not a great candidate because he's vegetarian and he doesn't act like a regular shark. Don't know how much of this is true, but this movie... It's like kind of like an accepting that your kid is gay story in a weird way. Like the shark is played by is Jack Black and is like very, very flamboyant throughout the whole movie as a performance choice. I don't know if that's me reading too much into Shark Tale, but like that's how I felt that this is like what the story's trying to be. It's not a good version of that, but yeah.
I think you're right. I think that's what it's trying to do because this is so how like one step forward, two steps backwards the early 2000s were. Yeah. Is I don't know if a lot of people picked up that there was, an acceptance message in there. But like this American Christian organization, they did, and they were like trying to boycott the film because it was trying to encourage parents to accept their children.
Wow.
Which, I mean, if you're trying to stop that, then you should know you're the bad guys.
Yeah, what kind of charitable organization is that? Jesus.
Yeah. But also, there were a lot of complaints before this film came out about stereotyping Italian Americans. So, like...
yeah. I mean, that is a very fair criticism, honestly.
Right?
You know? Like,
especially for, like, a kid's film to be, like, introducing them to that kind of stereotype.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is, like, that on the Wikipedia page, that's, like, a big part. And then this weird Christian group trying to be hateful is, like, a smaller part. And, like, it's kind of good that the world's moved on, at least for, you know... we're still not getting amazing representation, especially in kids' films, but like it's moved forward. But it's really interesting is that like even this year, like Jared Leto's out there playing an Italian American stereotype in House of Gucci, and like that's still going on.
Yeah, it's just oh well. I mean, like
there'll probably be a big turning point for this. Right around the Chris Pratt Mario movie. I reckon that's when we're finally going to be able to have the discussion as a society.
Finally! The perfect representation. Oh my good God. Every time I think about that movie coming out, I get chills. I'm like, how did that get greenlit?
Yeah.
That casting video is the most bonkers thing you'll watch. It's so good. When, like, it's just like, yes, Chris Pratt, he's so cool. He will be playing Mario. It's like, what? Okay. And it only gets weirder. Anyway.
Yeah, I loved that the official artwork to announce them all had, like, a black and white photo, I think, of Chris Pratt. And it looked like, someone on Twitter pointed out, it looks like Chris Pratt died. And then, because Mario's in quotation marks, it's like he died and his last words were Mario.
Chris, is there one role that you've always wanted to play before you died? Mario! Wahoo! And then he dies. Oh no.
It's alright because he's eaten enough mushrooms and he just shrinks back into little Chris Pratt.
Oh, that's good. His half-man form.
Yeah.
Half Pratt.
Oh.
Oh God. Anyway, back to this weird mafia meeting. The boys come in. The little Lenny and Frankie come in, and Lenny is provably not a killer shark, and is embarrassing. And Sykes notes this basically out loud to the Don, and is kicked out of their situation. Effectively, they were working together before, and he's like, "No. You got to get out of here now, and you've got to pay protection money to me so that you can keep your business." And he's like, shit, okay. We cut back to Oscar, who's cleaning tongues of the whales. That's his gig, which is something that is important for later. He saves a headphone-wearing fish from getting, like, gunged by the whale's mouth. And, like... It's like a whole thing with this whale causing chaos. It's not interesting. And then we go to the Rastafarian jellyfish. Ernie and Bernie are the two guys, and they're the like minions of old mate. Oh God, what Sykes of Sykes.
Yeah,
there is like henchmen. Or whatever. I don't know why a car wash owner would need henchmen. Maybe this is like a front or like a money laundering scheme for the shark mafia. I don't really know.
I mean, yeah. Also, I've just realized like money laundering through a car wash and the owner of the car wash having incredibly distinctive eyebrows. Like, was Shark Tale an influence on Breaking Bad?
I hope so. I mean, they were coming out at the same time, right? Like,
Breaking Bad, like maybe 3 years later, so enough time to have absorbed Shark Tale.
Yeah. The director saw Shark Tale and he's like, I'm going to ruminate on this, and then I got something brewing for later. These sharks have given me an idea.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So Oscar gets called into the office by these Rastafarian jelly boys, and he owes Sykes a bunch of money for all kinds of mistakes that he's made at the car wash, or like money that he's borrowed. It's unclear. And he's got to pay the money to Sykes Sykes like breaks it all down that he's paying off the mob. Like he like lets that clear really quickly.
Yeah.
I guess it's a kids movie, but like he's just like, I've got to pay the protection money, and shows him this like pull out of the food chain with Oscar being at the bottom below like whale poo and stuff. So Oscar has 24 hours to come up with the money so that Sykes can save his business. And 5,000 clams. Classic bit. And then, in the night, under the sea, him, Oscar and Angie are commiserating together here. They like hang out all the time, even though like they've just been hanging out at work. They're hanging out again. Oscar's talking about dreaming of being a rich, famous big shot, basically, and wants to live at the top of the reef, quote unquote, which is this like big apartment high-rise made out of coral in the distance. And he has this like weird flashback about not wanting to be like his dad, who he like worshipped, really loves his dad, but then had one experience where he like talked about what his dad did at school, and all of his friends mocked him and made fun of him, and so he suddenly decided that his dad wasn't cool. Like classic kid stuff, but still even now thinks that his dad is cool, which is nice. But like, I don't know, it's weird little flashback.
Especially because his dad has like huge ginger hair.
Yeah.
And, like, no other fish has hair in this film.
Per se. Yeah, they've got, like...
they have fins.
Stylized fins, yes. And the Jelly Boys have, like, tentacles that are their, like, dreadlocks. Yeah. I guess we're to presume that all of the sharks are bald. Like, every one of them is bald. Like...
Yeah.
Right? Maybe their fins are their hair? I don't know.
Ooh.
Like a backwards more confusing. Pompadour. It'd be great if they had like a little toupee riding on there or something.
Yeah.
You know? Yes. Oscar delivers the line, "Nobody loves a nobody," here when he's talking about it. So he's just sick of being a nobody, and he needs the fame, keen for fame. And so Angie sees how like distressed he is and goes to give him her grandmother's pink pearl, which for him to pawn to pay off the debt. A kind gesture. From the girl. Anyway.
I can't remember the context, but there's a gag in this where a lady, like an older lady fish, is singing through a window.
That is also here.
Yeah. During this like emotional scene, and I can't remember the context, but it does sync perfectly to "Great Gig in the Sky," where a lady sings.
Oh,
so
there you go. She's just blasting it. She's just cranking "Great Gig into the sky."
Great Gig in the Sea. It's a weird one because along with the lobster scuttling, both of these like big sinks we've had have just felt kind of cold, and here they are. Yeah. They're sinking perfectly, like a shark hunting down sinks, like with cold black eyes.
Yeah. I feel that way watching this. Absolutely. Yeah. It's like, there's a lot of these jokes that are just like cutaway gags, and all of the characters feeling really awkward about them in the thing. Like where there'd be like a laugh break or something in a sitcom, there's just silence, and everyone's like, ugh. You know, about a lot. I guess this was the humor at the time again. But it's just a lot of like non sequitur jokes, especially with that homeless hermit crab friend, Crazy Joe, that we saw earlier. He has a lot of like, aren't I crazy jokes, and that's like, okay, you know.
Yeah, it's that classic kind of writing style where you do the joke, but then you don't like believe in the joke enough, so you have to cut to someone being like, "Ooh,
yeah,
that."
That shows how you feel about the joke. Like, if characters in the thing aren't reacting in any way, like, probably a bad sign, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. So we cut from here to like an underwater restaurant. I guess also on the cruise ship, so it does make sense. There's like the sharks are hanging out inside the cruise ship's restaurant. That makes I've cracked it, Gareth. I've solved the case.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And they're like getting dinner service out here. Lenny's getting like scolded because sharks should not be vegetarian, and it like impacts the reputation. The mafia is all about reputation and image. And because Lenny is like perceived to be weak, that reflects on the Don and makes him look weak. This is like all classic mafia stuff. Yeah. Lenny apologizes about this, but he says he can't change who he is, basically. And his dad doesn't respond well and demands that he eats a shrimp in front of him to like more and more extreme lengths. And the shrimp gives a little sob story. It's not actually little. He goes like for quite a long time talking about his life and all kinds of stuff as we're going into money. Bit bizarre. And Lenny is reduced to tears by the little shrimp story. And eventually he snaps and he like grabs all the shrimp and sets them free outside of the a little crack in the window. And everyone saw this and it's like, oh shit, oh no. The Don demands that Frankie teach Lenny how to be a proper shark, and they like go out there together, conversion therapy, I'm guessing. Yikes. Anyway, come from here to the horse races, but it's seahorses because it's under the sea. Get it?
I will give them that I knew they were going to the racetrack.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, who's going to be racing? What's it going to be? Are we talking dogfish? Are we talking like...
Oh, the dogfish.
Is it going to be sea snails or something? And then when it was seahorses, I was like, yeah. Good. Thank you.
Yeah, it was the right choice.
Yeah, exactly. It was what the kids say is understanding the assignment.
They understood the assignment and they got an A.
Yeah, no one finishes the quote.
No, they should. They always omit that in all the memes. Anyway, yes. So he goes here to meet Sykes, who's just like at the track, and Oscar does. And after pawning the pearl, but he overhears from like a couple of randoms that the race has been fixed and that Lucky Day has a sure shot to win. And so he has a brief like flash of thinking about him becoming a rich big shot again, and goes over and places a bet. It bets all the money that he needs. Bets 5,000 on a 1 to 200 payout odds. Not good. On Lucky Day. And this attracts the attention of Lola, a sexy clownfish, played by Angelina Jolie. A weird, sexy fish. Don't know.
It's so strange. So I think she's a lionfish.
That was it?
Or she's supposed to be.
Oh,
well,
lionfish.
That's the thing. Lionfish look nothing like Lola.
No.
Lionfish have like big, long...
They got nothing on her.
Stuff. Yeah. bro. Lionfish look nothing like her. But also like clownfish, like maybe similar face, but they look nothing like her. It's really just a lady.
Yeah.
And they've just made her... It's honestly one of the most baffling decisions in cinematic history.
Yeah. Like the sharks at least resemble sharks. Like they are shark shaped. And there are other fish that look fish shaped, but they're the cars of this world. They're busy being cars. So I don't know. It's just so fucking weird. Anyway,
because she doesn't really like. You could like Angelina Jolie. We can't hear her performance because we're listening to Pink Floyd, but I'm sure she's doing great. But she could just be cleanly cut out of this script easily.
Easy as.
That someone wanted to draw a sexy fish.
They sure did. And they drew her a lot because she's got this whole like song and dance routine when she's introduced, and like the Oscar's doing the Bugs Bunny like heart coming out of him moment. Like, and yeah, her whole character motivation is that she's a gold digger and is attracted to money. And I'm happy that we have her introduced in money. That's good.
Yeah. And like being all seductive over the saxophones.
Yeah, that's all right. I'm on board with that. But yeah, so Oscar tries to hit it off with her and like act like a big shot, pretend that he is the famous person he dreams to be. But this is interrupted by him running into Sykes and the Jellyfish Boys. And she immediately, after finding that out, she immediately loses interest and like shuns him because he's a nobody. And the Jellyfish Boys reenact this scene with wieners for no apparent reason, just a joke.
Yeah.
Weird.
And they're completely like, it's just human hot dogs on the stick.
Yeah.
Or like hot dogs on the stick that humans would eat.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Yeah. It's confusing where the line is drawn. Where are they getting the like pork?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because I guess the idea was they probably did try it with like, oh, they're going to go get Frankfurt fish or some sort of like, they probably had a pun for a snack you could get.
Sure. Water sausages.
Hot dog fish. Yeah. But then they were like, no, we need them to read quickly as wieners so we can do this joke where they're waving the hot dogs around, the wieners around, making them talk. That's more important than a beautiful undersea post-apocalyptic or ancient world.
That is the key difference in that, like, Finding Nemo is, like, internally consistent with its rules. And that makes it so much of a better movie. Like, it's already better in, like, terms of plot and a whole other host of reasons. But that is another reason on the long list, is that it's internally consistent, and Shark Tale is not. So there you go. Or
even, like, to go back to BoJack Horseman, it's a, heightened world of animals living in a human world. But it is so strictly consistent in its world.
Absolutely. Yeah. There are certain rules that are never broken.
Which might be why people find Cars so horrifying.
God.
It has its rules, but Cars being the movie, not Cars in general.
It's just that nobody knows what they are.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, why are some cars flies?
Why? Oh, God. I don't want to talk about Cars anymore. I really don't. I am fully afraid of when we have to do Cars. Anyway.
I feel like now every film that's going to be like announced that we're doing, we all are going to be trying to like steer each other away from mockbusters and Cars.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Anyway, the boys gather and they watch the race. They're like, Sykes, the bet's already made, so Sykes can't get the money back, so they go and watch the race to see what happens. Lucky Day, the seahorse, gets stuck in the gates at the start of the race, and they're like, fuck, it's not going to win. And then it starts picking up the pace and getting ahead, and is in first, and the guy starts celebrating. But Lucky Day trips before the finish line underwater. They make that joke. It's like, how did the seahorse trip? It's underwater. And it's like, yeah. Yes, that is the issue at hand. But anyway, so they actually lost. And so in retaliation for this, they tie him up. They tie Oscar up and put him in like a whale's mouth instead, as the like car boot analog, being tied up and tossed in the car boot, but it's a whale's mouth. Is this a transport whale? Is the whale a car? I don't know. Anyway, they tie him to the sea floor with like a rock and some twine or whatever, and the jelly lads are taunting him. And meanwhile, we cut back to Lenny and Frankie, who are out like getting a lesson in being a real shark, and tries to convince Lenny to kill something, and they see Oscar tied up. And so Lenny goes in for the kill, but he can't do it. His little, like, he tries to, like, bares his fangs or whatever, but doesn't, like, eat Oscar, and, like, gives him time, like, tells him and gives him time to escape, and mimes, like, eating him, like, thrashing around as if he's caught and is eating him, which Frankie is loving. And, yeah. But for whatever reason, Oscar doesn't listen to this and stays put. It's like, oh, what? You meant to, like, escape? When you said escape, you meant escape? It's like, yes. Anyway. And Frankie is very upset that Lenny didn't follow through. It was too chicken or whatever. And, zooms up and tries to kill and eat Oscar. But suddenly, from the heavens, an anchor drops on Frankie's head and kills him. He has a dramatic, like, death in his brother's arms scene over the chorus of Us and Them for us. Getting knocked out by an anchor. It's pretty brutal, honestly. Like the actual hitting, it would be so much worse if he got hit and then was just dead. Like, having him do the, like, dying in his brother's arms things pretty, like, softens the blow in sort of a cheesy enough way. But, like, I feel like there's a cut of this where he gets hit by the anchor and that's it. Like, oh, man, rough stuff.
Yeah. I even, like, remember as a, like, tween seeing this and being like, no way, they killed him?
Right.
He's just dead?
Yeah.
And that's, like, what sets off the plot?
In a truly brutal way. Like, getting hit by an anchor is pretty fucking horrible. Like, goddamn. Yeah, Jesus. Like, even in an actual mafia movie, if someone got hit by an anchor, like, that would be horrifying. Everyone would be talking about that Sopranos episode, you know? Yeah. On Godfather 7 Under the Sea. Like, when they killed Frankie with the anchor, you know? God damn.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Frankie is dead, and old mate Lenny runs away, all upset, and they think the Jelly Boys throughout have, like, scampered off and at a safe distance, and they come in and see a dead shark and a giant anchor and Oscar. And they think that Oscar has taken down this big shark. And, Oscar decides to, like, exploit the situation and tell a lie and say that, he did. He killed the shark. And, he goes on to fame and fortune. And that's the end of the movie. No, so we see him, like, telling the story of how he killed the shark to an excited crowd of random people on the street and a news reporter. And he gets labeled the Shark Slayer by someone here. Lola sees him on the big screen and is like, oh shit, this guy's actually a hotshot again, so I am now interested. My only motivator has come into play once more. And Sykes comes in and says that he will forgive Oscar's debt and become his manager. And they have a brief, like, comedic negotiation of splitting the profits, which is just such a bizarre thing to have in a kid's film, but fine. Just like a media negotiation. They are, like, celebrating him as the Shark Slayer, and we cut from this to Frankie's funeral, like a mafia funeral happening at the cruise ship, where they toss his body over the side of the boat and it floats to the surface like a goldfish. awful.
Yeah, honestly, just a little too dark,
too gross, honestly. Yeah. They have wrapped him up like a big mummy so that it's not like truly horrifying.
Yeah.
But like, anyway. Yes. Also, Lenny is still missing after this. He hasn't come back. He hasn't come home because Frankie's dead. He's like hiding outside of this funeral and listening in to the conversations that are happening. All the sharks have gathered and are giving their words of condolences to the Don, and this weirdo tiger shark called Ira gives word of this new shark slayer in town. Reads the papers. I don't know. And yeah, the Don, they like only know where the shark slayer lives, and he's like, my guy there is Sykes, so I'll get Sykes to look for the shark slayer, and he doesn't know that he's the manager of the shark slayer. So yeah, Oscar in the meantime has become famous, and there's a montage of him being like up in lights and living the high life. He's on all the ads. He's got a swanky apartment that he always wanted in the top of the reef. He's having a big party at his house as we are hearing Brain Damage, which, like, you don't really put Brain Damage on at a party, but
no,
probably not.
Yeah, and it starts as soon as he gets into his house. As if to say, party is starting. His Brain Damage by popular rock band Pink Floyd.
Yeah, everybody get down on the floor. Angie shows up at the party, and Oscar shows her the view. It doesn't make any fucking sense for there to be buildings. It makes me so angry. They can swim up and down. Like
exactly.
You can get this view from anywhere. Just fly up here. There's no limits. There's no gravity. Well, there is gravity, just weaker gravity. God. Anyway, it makes me angry. And to repay her for helping him out, he's brought back the pearl in a little box, and she thinks it's like a proposal that's happening, but it's not. It's very awkward. And yeah, he's turned the pearl into like a pearl necklace of other pink pearls because he's so rich, and she's not impressed with that. And Lola comes in and interrupts the scene and literally steals Oscar away. She says as much. She's like, I'm just going to steal him away for a minute. And Angie's upset about this. And we get the line, "See you on the dark side of the moon," at the end of, in mid Brain Damage here, with her like sort of silhouetted on the balcony here. Which was like quite a nice like match shot. It was one of the syncs that I noted for Shark Tale. So there you go.
No, yeah, it's pretty spot on.
Yeah. The party itself is abruptly stopped because there's a shark sighting, and everyone starts panicking and running for cover. But then everyone looks to Oscar, who is also cowering and hiding, and they're like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, I'll go out and slay the shark, and everyone will be fine." And everyone cheers for him. And then he gets into a lift as he's like, "Yeah, whoa, yeah." And then I think he's just like starts crying from behind the lift. But again, that's a joke that doesn't work for us.
What does work for us is the fact as soon as those lift doors close, Brain Damage for Pink Floyd, which played when he entered the party, ends.
Yes. Delicious. Perfect.
Yeah. Another cold clinical sync.
The perfect Brain Damage sync of a party that you don't want to be at, man. Yeah, so the sharks are out like looking for Lenny, obviously. So they're like coming to town again because he's still lost. And both Oscar and effectively and Lenny are hiding in the same spot from the same sharks. And they run into each other. And yeah, like there's a brief altercation where like they think that one's going to reveal to the other where they are, or like Oscar thinks he's going to get eaten. But yeah, they sort of come together and just talk for a bit about there not being anything to be afraid of. And yeah, like he's afraid of the Shark Slayer as like a mythical thing that could get him at any moment. He's heard this rumor of the Shark Slayer being out, Lenny has. And yeah, he's just sort of like mourns his brother at the end of Eclipse and over the heartbeats, which is like quite sad.
Yeah.
On this read, you know. Oh, anyway. And yeah, he's got nowhere to go, so he asks to like go and stay with Oscar and like hide him somewhere as we go into playthrough 2. And those little fish kids are out here again, spray painting on a wall, and they've spray painted a big mural of Oscar as the Shark Slayer. And he's like,
it looks cool.
It does look cool. It's not a bad. These are artful kids.
Yeah.
You know, where they get the paint from and how it works underwater, I don't know. And yeah, they're like, why are they out though as well? Where are the bloody parents? Like these kids, there's sharks out. They could get eaten. This is like, it's like Evangelion. The shark siren has gone off. These kids should be inside, you know, in their coral homes or whatever. I don't know.
Everyone's always comparing Shark Tale with Evangelion. Evangelion.
Yeah. Not enough people are. I'm trying to provide a service. Anyway, so yes, this is the reveal to Lenny that Oscar is the Shark Slayer, and the altercation that he had with the brother is, that resulted in his brother's death, has labeled him as the Shark Slayer, and he's like, oh, you lied. He puts it together like immediately and threatens to reveal the secret unless Oscar helps him stay or like helps him hide from his parents, from his dad. And yeah, so they try not to arouse suspicion as they creep their way over to the whale wash with mixed success, really. Just like Lenny's not the stealthiest character. He's like bumbling even in shark form. Even when you're only the voice of Jack Black, you still provide physical comedy.
Yeah, man, he's good.
Yeah, so impressive. And yeah, they hide Lenny in the whale wash like storage area. I don't know. It's like a huge area for storage for like a fish run facility, but sure.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Bed and everything.
Confusing. And yeah, we get the reveal from Lenny that he is different to other sharks and prejudice is real, and that he's vegetarian. It's just so played, the whole thing, really. Anyway,
yeah, I mean, I guess you still got to say it was pretty revolutionary for its time in a kids' movie.
I guess so.
Yeah. Also, you know, sometimes you do have to reveal you're vegetarian or hide it.
Yeah, true. You are
someone
famously vegetarian, Gareth. Have you had?
But you know, I've tried to hide it.
Have you?
Like, I remember I did some temp work at a fridge factory.
Whoa!
And they had a Friday barbecue, and we all got like a bunch of these like burgers sent over, which were just sauce and meat and bread. And I remember just like carefully picking it up in a way that slid the meat out, and I was just like eating my free sauce bread. And I remember like this guy coming over who like, you know, showed me the ropes my 1 week there, and he just yelled out like, "Who's dropped all the meat?" And I had to be like, "Oh no, who did that?"
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a very tragic tale.
Yeah.
That's your shark tale. Oh.
Yeah.
Gosh. I love
dropped
that
meat tale.
The dropped meat
Gareth
tale.
story.
Yeah. There's a chapter of your autobiography about that one interaction. Anyway. Yes. He's staying at the storage zone, and Oscar has a like poor reaction to it, like laughs at him, and then says, "Well, like, but why can't your dad accept you for who you are? That's like it's fine to be vegetarian. Like presumably many of the fish are vegetarian. So I don't know. Yeah, and then he finds out that Lenny's dad is the Godfather. I do like that they play it like it's like what is he, the Godfather or something? And Lenny's just like, yeah. Yeah, he is. It's so good. And then he has this, like, it's such a bizarre transition, but he has a dream of being killed and eaten by the Don shark. And then this is a video game that is being played by, like, a Shark Slayer video game, fighting game, being played by the two.
Which must have been rushed into production.
Fucking A. Being played by the two jelly boys, jellyfish men. And yeah, this is like, we've cut from that scene to back at the apartment where Sykes is hanging out, just yelling down the phone at the Don, flexing that he knows the Shark Slayer and that he's like, and you're going to have to pay me protection money from the Shark Slayer. Ho, ho, ho. Yeah, like basically thinks that he's going to get away with all this. And we get the crash sound in On the Run when Don Lino is put on the phone with Oscar, and he says that he's going to hunt him down. And this is interrupted by yet another awkward joke that doesn't land, because I haven't mentioned up until this point, but there's an octopus here who's like assistant to the Don, played by yet another Sopranos actor. The guy, I can't remember his name, but he plays Big Pussy in The Sopranos. Yes, there's a character called Big Pussy in The Sopranos, and that's like the best thing ever.
This is how I'm learning this.
Yeah. It's just a thing. That's just an accepted thing in The Sopranos. And yeah, he's this octopus assistant guy, and it's interrupted with him like ordering pizzas over the phone and jumping onto this call awkwardly. And it's like, just not another joke that just doesn't land at all, doesn't go anywhere, isn't for anything except to like build the joke quota.
For sure. There's a bunch of jokes in here that like are just like, and we'll chuck a joke in there and we'll figure it out later. And then they just didn't figure it out later. Yeah,
exactly. They just threw them into the script like lolly scramble style. Like, you know?
They wrote a bunch of good jokes, and then they printed the script out, and then they threw it, and all the kids got to grab the jokes. Yeah. And then, wherever they landed, that's where that joke went.
That's where the joke goes, yeah.
Pizza order. That would actually be a very fascinating way to write a script, and I would love to just watch that filmed verbatim and acted perfectly.
That's, impressive. I feel like that wouldn't be a coherent film, but...
No, not in the slightest.
But neither is Shark Tale, so it's fine. Yes. But yeah, the crash sound aligning with this bomb joke is a sync, albeit a tragic one. The true sound. I do want the crash sound and On the Run to play in my life whenever I tell a joke and it bombs. That would be very helpful to me. Just going forward for my self-improvement purposes.
Just so you know,
Yeah, just so I know that was a mistake. Usually, you know. So
both times the crash sound is played for a bombed joke, though, in this movie. So that's, there
you go.
That's a bit of in-world consistency Shark Tale could learn from.
There you go. Perfect. Perfectly done. Well done, Shark Tale. So Sykes and the boys leave here sitting pretty and feeling like that Oscar has everything covered, and that, they're going to take down the whole shark mafia family. He won't have to live in fear anymore. They leave, and Lola is also here, just like lurking in this apartment, like to seduce Oscar, I guess. She like changes the lighting for the sex. I don't know. It's weird. I don't know. Even Oscar finds it strange that he's just like that. She's just waiting here for him as the clocks are going off. And he talks about like he threatens to retire. He's like, yeah, I'm thinking about giving up the whole Shark Slayer thing. And she's like, whoa. She says, you've made it to the top. You don't want to sink back to the bottom now, do you? Fish. So basically she's like, you got to show those sharks who's boss. And that gives him an idea, gives Oscar an idea. So he runs back looking for Lenny, and who's gone when he gets back. And it's revealed that Angie found him because he decided to hide the shark in their place of work. So, not a great plan, but so she's out here and has heard the whole story from Lenny about the whole fake Shark Slayer thing, and feels betrayed by Oscar, who's lying to everyone, but also to her. But he's got a problem. He's got a problem. He's got a plan to take care of the problem.
So he does have a problem,
but also a plan. And he's like, oh, you could come out all bleeding and then say, oh, the Shark Slayer, he got me. Oh my God, he's the best. And Lenny, because he's good at comedy, yes ands this plan and goes into hatch a new plan here where it's even further, where they have a whole scene of a battle that plays out, and we see it play out live on TV, where Lenny comes in for like a shark attack, and Oscar steps in and takes him down with powerful punches or whatever.
Yeah. It's kind of like, it's a very over the top thing watching a fish punch a shark in like the middle of flying around a city.
Yeah.
But it does really work to the ripping guitar solo of Time by Pink Floyd. Like,
it's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Good fight scene music.
Yeah, right?
Underwater
and I think it's
fight
also
scene.
like the slight step of disconnect from this film that, I don't know, it feels kind of like there's a bit of an irony to it. And there's also like the idea that Pink Floyd, these brainy guys, would be ripping the solo, just shredding away. There's a bit of an irony and a step back there as well. So it works quite well. Like if this was a more earnest movie, it wouldn't, like it would sink in other ways, but it wouldn't sink as well to this ripping ass solo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love it. You love to see it. It's always nice when the solo syncs with something, because that's a hard one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nothing much really happens for the fight plot wise, but we do get the knowledge that like Lenny can't hold fish in his mouth even for a short amount of time. Like it's that disgusting to him eating fish that he like has to open his mouth. The goons who are out looking for Lenny show up at this scene, and for the final like triumphant hit, Lenny like is flung against a big neon sign and then falls down to the depths of the ocean and hides away as if he were destroyed.
And this
dramatically
looks awesome to the opening piano of Great Gig in the Sky.
It's really good, yeah. Him slowly falling down into the depths of the ocean is a real good match for old Great Gig coming in. Oscar's having his triumphant moment on TV, standing in front of the exploding neon sign. And Lola takes this opportunity and runs in to get her 30 seconds of fame and kisses him on live TV, driving the tabloids wild, Gareth. And driving, what's her name? The other fish, Jesus.
Angie, to
be very jealous. Yes. Oscar, after the whole scheme is played out, they return to the storage place and congratulate each other. And Angie's like pointedly in a huff reading a newspaper.
Yeah.
And they have a big argument where she's trying to hide her feelings for Oscar still, but is like really annoyed that he's with this person who's treating him like shit. Only cares about him for not for who he is, but for who he's become. Like the status is what she's in love with. And yeah, Oscar says she treats me like a somebody, and Angie asks, but would she love you if you were a nobody? Like, there you go. Pretty plain and simple there. And yeah, so we finally get the reveal of her original feelings for Oscar, but it's too late because he's fluffed his lolly, is how I say it, Gareth. The classic saying that everyone uses, not just me.
Yeah.
Jeepers. You forget about that one?
I did.
Yeah. And yeah.
And now let's both at the same time say what fluff your lolly means.
It's when you fluffed your lolly, Gareth, it means that it's too late. There's no going back. The lolly's fallen on the floor. It's covered in fluff. You can't eat the lolly anymore. It's done. What's done is done, is what fluffed your lolly means.
Oh, I love it now.
It's a perfect saying, and everyone should use it, and not just me and my family.
And it works so well because you're if you dropped it before you started eating the lolly, it wouldn't get as fluffed. But because you got that far,
exactly,
and you dropped it.
It's too late.
Lolly.
There's no going back. Exactly. I love explaining that. Anyway, yes. So it's too late. She tells him to leave, and we get the reveal of what's his name, of Lenny's disguise. He's disguised himself as a dolphin, painted himself with all the stuff here with the paint. I don't know.
Some blue paint. He's squeezed his nose with a rubber band, and he's got a cute little scarf.
Yeah. He looks like a friendly guy. He did before, but I don't know. I don't know why squeezing his nose makes him look more like a dolphin. I guess the bottlenose dolphin is the thing he's going for. I guess they do have dolphins do have that weird beak mouth kind of thing. Not a beak, but you know what I mean. They have a sort of different shaped mouth than the rest of their head.
Yeah. I would say most like a beak, really.
Yeah.
The way it pushes out, similar to a beak.
You know, the beak.
Yeah. Dolphins are weird.
You wouldn't say that dolphins have a beak, but you could. and everyone would know what you mean.
If you're in enough of a rush.
Yeah. So Oscar leaves, and the argument is unresolved. Right at the end of Great Gig, he does the classic "I should go back in there" and then doesn't, and swims away right over the end of the track. It's a very sad time there with Great Gig, starting with the fake death, going all the way to this actually bad, awkward, sad scene. You know, we get a sad, lonely song, I think, for Oscar now. Of him,
that's right.
Of him, realizing all of the status and fame is actually not what he wanted, and he had it good before. He's looking at the advertisements of himself, for Coca-Cola, literally, and all the stuff in disgust. He goes up to his apartment, and there's a party there happening without him, which is true nightmare scenario. And sees a massive ad for himself selling hemorrhoid cream, and he's just oh god, what have I become? Lola comes out to try and comfort him, but of course she's a vapid, terrible person, and so this doesn't go well. And Oscar dumps her, and she is mortified by this and beats him up throws him against the glass of his own apartment building. And everyone's like, ha ha ha, isn't that funny? And then continues partying. Very weird.
Yeah, I do kind of love how her whole point is that she's just like shallow and just like, a non-character completely.
Yeah.
Like, it's so poorly written that it dances all the way back to being like, oh, is this genius?
Yeah. She's like a perfect stereotype of like the vapid Hollywood person who like is obsessed with famous people, like obsessed with fame. She's like that part of Oscar amplified to the nth degree, where that's just like who she is. She has no other part of her life or character. So, you know, like that's decent to have the like one of the key antagonists to be like this one part that's bad about the main character, but emphasized to the max. Like, you know, that's some good story writing stuff, but I don't know. She's not good.
I mean, what you've just said, like, you could point that out in like a script writing class, but then you would quickly move on and say like, but don't worry. Yeah. We're not teaching you how to play lolly scramble of jokes here. We're teaching you script.
You kids don't want to fluff your lollies out there. And everyone's like, what the fuck is happening? Why is he so obsessed with lollies?
You just wandered into the script writing class and you were just trying to buy like a 50-cent mixture of lollies and you're like, what am I doing? Oh, I'm teaching? Okay.
Oh, weird. Whoops. All right, today class...
Script writing's a lot like unwrapping a lolly.
Yeah, I am leaning into my strengths of knowledge if I'm like walking into a film class and I talk non-stop about lollies. That's basically what we do every week.
Yeah, true.
It's not really branching out for me.
I did like feel a little stressed out when I was critiquing the script because it's like, what do I know? But then when we got into lolly talk,
it's too easy.
I was like, yeah, they can be sour or sweet.
Yeah, man, they can, just like us. So Lenny is now happily working at the car wash, disguised as Lenny the friendly dolphin, and Oscar has gone to get like chocolates and flowers and classic romance stuff to try and win back Angie because he realizes that he was an idiot and now he loves her, obviously. But she's not there. She's been kidnapped by the mafiosos as leverage here over the Shark Slayer. So they've like captured her and are going to kill her to get back at him unless he comes to like a meeting to talk with the Don. And so, they go to do that. They plan to rescue her. And this is where Sykes finally hears and finds out that the whole Shark Slayer routine isn't true. It's all a lie. And he's like, oh, what? And has a like panic attack thing that he does. He's got like, Scorsese has big like police chief, like, this is making my sciatica go crazy energy. Like, you boys are off the force, that kind of vibe, you know?
Yeah.
You got 24 hours.
We haven't mentioned it, but his whole gag is that he, like, gets stressed out and puffs up and gets, like, a high voice.
Yeah.
Like a fish.
Like a big puffer fish. Which I don't know if pufferfish, do they puff up when they're, like, stressed or scared? I think it's like a defense mechanism, right?
It is to like, but it could also, I don't know if it's involuntary though.
It could just, I think it could just be like an intimidation tactic kind of thing, so that they don't get eaten by bigger fish. They make themselves all big and pointy looking and scary, maybe. You know,
I think that's it.
I know that they are poisonous, but you know.
It's interesting because chameleons don't change color to hide; they change color just to show their emotions.
Yeah.
Just
based on feelings and temperature and stuff.
Yeah. Whereas I think pufferfish, it is more on the nose. They're just puffing up to look tough.
Puffing up.
They should be called tougher fish.
Whoa. Yo.
They should not.
There's a gym in this world called Tougher Fish.
Love it.
Anyway, so yeah, they go to this meeting to rescue her, and trying to act all unafraid and tough. And Oscar is in his element because he realizes that all these sharks are very afraid of him. Effectively, from their perspective, he's killed 2 sharks, both the sons of the Don, and so they're very intimidated. And the Don comes in as we get the cruising for a bruising ad lib at the end of Money, I believe. And yeah, it's very sad because he's just sort of lamenting the death of both of his sons. Pretty messed up. And he's coming in and being all tough, and Lola is here and is going to betray them, like with no knowledge about like whether or not the Shark Slayer is real or not. She's just like, I go where the money is.
Yeah.
I just am a fair weather villain who will side with evil no matter what. But yeah, it's quite funny that she's here. She has like no motivation left in this movie, but sure. And
she sort of vanishes after this point as well, doesn't she?
Yeah, well, it's because she doesn't actually have any leverage or anything to contribute. It's just like she didn't. I feel like there could have been a deleted scene where she like finds out that the whole thing's fake or something, and then like she reveals it. That would have been a good moment. Doesn't happen. She's just sort of here being like, I know you're not real, and he's like, shut up, you don't know anything, and she doesn't. So
yeah,
sort of the end of that. But yeah,
I think with her, it must have just been they've almost finished the film and someone just like sleazed their way in and was like, these fish need to be sexy. Put a sexy fish in it.
Oh, no. Get out of here.
No, it's Mr. Hollywood. We've got to do what he says.
Shit. Oh, he keeps sneezing money into the room. Yeah. I hate Mr. Hollywood. He's been here.
Back in the 20s, he snorted a bunch of money and he's still just sneezing it out.
Yeah. He did the like rolling the notes to like snort cocaine, but he just inhaled the whole thing every time. Everyone was like, well, all right. You know, it's an expensive way to do it, but I guess if you got the cash. So to prove that this leverage is not the case, like Angie is like tied up and on like a serving plate here in the meeting room, like a big dinner server thing. I don't know what these are called. Anyway,
I don't know.
And to prove that this isn't the case, Lenny the dolphin in dolphin form comes in and swoops in and bites her up. Eats her in one swift motion, and just holds Angie in his mouth, being like, oh, well, see, like, that was easy. Now you don't have anything, and now I'm in charge. Like, I didn't care for her anyway, or whatever is the thing. Oscar, like, jumps up on the table and starts doing the hammer dance. It's weird. We had, like, a Sir Mix-a-Lot shout-out earlier as well. I don't know what's going on in this film.
Yeah, like, it was Mr. Hollywood again.
Yeah, Sir Mix-a-Lot hadn't been relevant in like maybe 10 years at that point.
Oh, yeah, even more. And MC Hammer as well, like probably 13 years.
Yeah, crazy.
Oh, man.
Anyway, so yeah, he like starts making demands of all the mafia sharks and scaring them out of their minds. Demanding that they like follow his every word and no toes out of line, etc. But unfortunately, Lenny in the background can't keep Angie down effectively. It has to spit her up out of his mouth along with a bunch of other like random detritus that he's eaten.
Including a license plate. Shout out to Jaws.
Shout outs to Jaws. There you go.
As if this film doesn't have enough shouts out to Jaws.
Yeah. Another shark immediately eats it, in case you weren't sure. The Don also he like like Lenny is like coughing and spluttering and says like says some stuff, and the Don immediately recognizes the voice of his son and like runs over and hugs him, swims over and hugs him, which is very sweet. I like how like compassionate the Don is at like finding out that his son is not in fact dead. He's like actually quite a nice man for the mafia. He learns a lesson over the film, but like he's always been like compassionate about his sons throughout the whole movie. He does care. It's just that like he's got this image. That's the conflict that he was faced with. He didn't want them to die. Like yeah, it's a weird way to learn the lesson, but sure. Anyway, so yeah, he's upset though that he would disguise himself as a dolphin and like turn against the family as like a grand betrayal. And Oscar's like, whoa, your beef's not with your son, it's with me. And so he's like, you're right. And he chases after him and tries to eat him. So we get like a chase sequence back to the car wash with a bunch of shrimp. Making a triumphant return, making a little beard made of shrimp on a shark. Pretty funny visual gag. And it's like from his perspective, this guy's killed one of his sons and turned his other son against him. It's pretty messed up. He's got pretty justified reason to want to kill this guy. We go into Us and Them for the chase sequence. He goes all the way to the whale wash, evading the Don and getting all the all the other characters also following behind in this chase sequence. I'm not entirely sure why they do, but they do. They are trying to. He's trying to escape, and he traps a shark in the clamp thing that they use to hold down the whales when they get out of control, and unfortunately clamps Lenny in it. And then, of course, the Don like has appeared behind him and goes in for the kill, and continues to evade dramatically, and eventually catches the Don in like the rollers of the car wash, the big washing things. Like so many of them like swoop in and like clamp down on all his little fins. Poor guy. So now these two sharks are like imprisoned and facing each other with Oscar in the middle. So naturally this looks like he is again the Shark Slayer triumphant, and the crowds gather and lift him up onto their shoulders, and like he's on TV again, being asked for a statement, and Oscar has learned his lesson, and he calls out in the moment. He yells out that he's not the real Shark Slayer, and tells everyone the truth about everything, and and then he also like lectures the Don about like accepting his son for who he is. He's like, it's fine. Like he doesn't eat fish, but like he's still your son. That's what's important. The Don like does learn the lesson immediately and is like, set me free. It's good that he learns it and there's not like a heel turn where he tries to eat the Oscar again. I feel like they could have done that and it would have really ruined it. But no.
Yeah, well, they had to meet this tight 90-minute deadline. So they were like, yep, that worked.
Yeah, that's all good. And so, he like just comes out of the rollers and then hugs his kids and apologizes for how he treated him. It's really lovely. They're hugging it out, and Oscar tries to reveal his love to Angie very awkwardly about how he's wrong and he acted like an idiot and all this stuff. And she questions his want, like he used to want to be a somebody, and he says, "I'm nobody without you." Oh. Pretty cheesy. And then, they have a kiss, and It's all good. And the live newscast is still continuing. And Oscar asks the Don if the reef will be safe from the shark attacks. And the Don's like, yeah, we're good. We're all good. And then everyone in the streets is like, yes! They're like, oh, fuck, thank God. We're safe. Don't know what that means the sharks are going to eat from now on, but sure.
Yeah. It is wild, because, like, if you're going by the mob kind of rules,
yeah,
like, a mob isn't just a mob for the sake of being scary.
No.
Like, they're running a business. It's just illegitimate. There's a lot of, like, stakeholders and weird, like, power levels. Like, I would find it very stressful running a mob.
Oh, yeah.
Which is why only reason I don't do it. Like, I just can't believe that would be, oh, no, and we'll just leave all the fish alone. We'll just do something else.
Yeah, man. I would kill for just an actual shark mafia movie that isn't for kids. That would be really fun. If just like it's just the Sopranos but underwater. That would be the best thing ever.
Yeah.
Oh my
Unfortunately,
God.
I spoke to Mr. Hollywood.
No.
And he's only gonna finance the version where it's like a theater full of water and it's a live action.
God damn it, Mr. Hollywood. Why do you always choose the wrong
extra
thing?
sexy?
No.
Oh.
Oh, get out of here. Oh, Mr. Hollywood's been in his half-man Mario form his entire life. Since birth.
He just needs to eat one mushroom and he'll finally be free.
Finally free. He turns back into a normal man once more.
Yeah. All the money falls out of his nose.
I'm free from my curse. Thank you, kind prince. This delicious mushroom has saved me.
Time to go make serious Shark Tale.
Oh, yes. Oh. Wonderful. And the world was a better place after that. So we get the epilogue of Shark Tale now with Oscar is now co-manager of the whale wash with Sykes. And is looking after the whales, but also the orca and marlin and sharks that we saw at the meeting of the Don's family. It's a nice cohabiting system here where everyone's helping each other out, you know. Positive vibes as we go into brain damage here for the final part of the movie, and there's a performance of the car wash song, which is like maybe the most popular thing about Shark Tale. This car wash cover.
Oh yeah, it's the lingering effect, eh?
Yeah, everyone knows. Like it's like Shark Tale, the car wash. That's the only thing that made it through. And it's because there's fish versions of Missy Elliott and Christina Aguilera out here performing this. Bizarre. Fishy Elliott is
thank you.
Very weird looking, specifically.
It's fascinating as well because like Missy Elliott is such a rare artist now. Like it's I think we've only had one Missy Elliott song in the last decade.
Last 10 years for sure.
Yeah, and then we were getting her in Shark Tale and we didn't know how good we had it.
Yeah, she did a collaboration with Lizzo recently, and I think that's about it.
Oh, she did, eh? Yeah. Okay, she's had two in the last 10 years or so.
Yeah, and then Shark Tale back in 2004. Man,
she's just been under the sea since.
Yeah, she does through mid performance here. She does yell out, "This is a Shark Tale exclusive," which is just a funny ass lyric to have in a licensed song for a movie. You're not gonna get this anywhere else. You gotta get it from Shark Tale. So
Need that
good.
in every movie. I want to see Licorice Pizza. They turn to the camera and go, "This is a Licorice Pizza exclusive," and then continue acting.
And it's just the new Haim track, and you can only listen to it in the soundtrack. You know?
I'd have the whole movie on my iPod.
Just for that? Yeah, I can see it. The film ends after that fantastic line. And we go into the main credits with the little worm returning on his hook, having a boogie to the car wash song. Still not evading the old fishing line. Poor worm. But fair enough. We get the credits. As you said, it's like production artwork, which looks quite nice, really. Like all the storyboardy stuff. Quite cool. That's it. It's like a tight 2 plays. We like go into a clips over this, and that's kind of it. There's like 5 minutes. These are very long credits, by the way.
Yeah.
Like really long. A lot of people made Shark Tale. A lot of people were involved in getting De Niro on board.
I bet. The De Niro Wranglers.
Yeah, the Wranglers. He's like an untamed shark. They had to keep him under control.
Maybe that's why Scorsese's in it, is like
he's
they
a wrangler?
just mic'd up Scorsese and sent him to go hang out with De Niro and tricked him into saying all this stuff that they could then edit together into Shark Tale.
Martin, why are you talking so much about sharks all the time? He's like, I don't know, I just like sharks. That's great.
It's like, the sun is out, and they cut sun from that. It's like, okay, cool, we've got him talking about his son, and now we just need him talking about the reef.
I do love the
No,
idea.
I don't want to smoke reefer. Reef.
What? Robert De Niro doesn't want to smoke reefer with Martin Scorsese? You expect me to believe that, Gareth?
That's true. That's the silliest thing I've ever said on this show.
Is.
Everything else,
You're
complete
a silly
fact.
one. What did you think? How did it
lolly.
sink, Gareth? About this silly movie? How did it sync up?
Well, it's a silly movie, but the sinks were a bit serious. Like, I didn't expect it. Like, vibe-wise, completely off.
Yeah.
Like, I know often we give points for vibe.
Yeah.
No vibe, but just mechanical.
No vibe.
No vibe, just sinks. Opposite of empty head, just vibes.
Yeah.
No vibes, just sinks.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, they were just stacking them up, sadly. We've got, like,
Basically, yeah. There's no
falling, dying shark. We've got the perfect bachelor pad party song length.
Yeah.
Scuttling lobsters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still don't feel good about it. I feel like there were like many things that lined up, but like it wasn't a positive experience, which I feel like is a rarity on the show, really. Like, I feel like we have a lot of fun we have a lot of fun here on Sync Floyd. But like most of the time when things don't line up, or when things do line up, we're usually really excited about it. But this is the first time I think we've just been like, yeah, you know? I feel like it's quite rare.
Yeah. Well, I guess by the very nature of it, this whole show is us setting ourselves this impossible task based entirely on coincidence. And like, when that is rewarded, when, we're actually getting one of the things that we've unfairly asked the world for, we're happy. And it's just a rare opportunity where we're like, we've unfairly asked the world for it. We got what we wanted.
And we're still dissatisfied.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Wow.
Maybe we've
So is this an 8?
Yeah. We've got the fame and fortune, Gareth, and now we're looking at ourselves on our ivory towers and going like, actually, this isn't as good. I miss the old life. Yeah, I like 8. I like 8.
Yeah. We're looking at this 8 the same way the fish looked at the view. It was like, all along we should have just swum to it. Why did we work so hard?
There we go. The lesson, the fable, the tale, Gareth, that we've gone through here. The shark tale.
Yeah.
Wow. Truly impressive. All right.
On that somber note, what movie are we watching next week?
Well, because this was like more of a dour experience, I wanted to return to something that we had a lot of fun with, and I was reminiscing about the most recent episode that's come out, and for us was the Mamma Mia episode. I was remembering how much fun I had watching Mamma Mia, Gareth, and getting real excited about it. We're not doing Mamma Mia 2, don't worry. But I was...
It'd be weird to, like, Mamma Mia, 2 weeks off Mamma Mia, then back to Mamma Mia.
That would be pretty funny, but we aren't doing that. Sorry. What I was remembering how much fun I was having making fun of Pierce Brosnan, Gareth. And I want to do another Pierce film. And I also want to touch on a long-running series that we haven't covered off before on the show. And so I want to do GoldenEye. James Bond in GoldenEye next week.
Yes. Tanks a lot. Yeah. Because he's in a tank.
Yeah. Get excited for our first foray into the James Bond series next week.
Yeah. Oh boy. I'm going to be texting a mutual friend of ours quite a lot so I can understand James Bond.
Yeah. We can get some notes in, I'm sure. So Sing Floyd on Twitter, at Sing Floyd on Twitter, at Sing Floyd Pod on Twitter. There it is.
Yes, yeah.
SingFloydPod at gmail.com, SingFloydPod letterboxed, SingFloydPod on Spotify, on iTunes, where you're listening currently. Get at us on all those things. Send us your sound bites of you doing a Robert De Niro impression.
Please, yeah. Send us your fan art of Mr. Money.
Oh, yeah, of Mr. Hollywood. Get him in there, please.
Yeah, sorry. Mr. Money snorts the Hollywood H sign.
In one big go. Yeah. He just did it all in one sniff. Just the line of the Hollywood H sign. Man, that's so good. Okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
All right. Well, what a great note. And I've been Gareth Blacklow.
I've been James Barron. Little fish.
Oh.
I've been a fish the whole time.
And we'll see you on the shark side of the moon.
Hey, on the shark side of the moon. Da-da.